Okay, so after looking at your ionic naming notes, I wanted to just go over a few errors that I saw. So the first thing that I want to talk about is these polyatomic ions. So polyatomic ions, poly just means many. Okay, so what that means is it's basically like a two or more elements are bonded together and they function like a group. So these elements that are bonded together have either lost or gained electrons that gives them some type of charge. You do not have to memorize polyatomic elements, but you do need to know how to find them and how to name them and how to write them. If you look under the general like class resources, the class information, class info folder, okay, you'll find a file that says I think it says chemistry reference sheet. Chem reference sheet. I would print this or save it to your desktop or something where you have easy access to this, because we're going to use this quite a bit from now on. So if you scroll down here, here's our list of polyatomic ions. Okay, and it's kind of sorted by their charges. And then we have these positive ions down here. So if I'm looking at these ionic notes, I see this ammonium sulfide. That does not sound like, ammonium does not sound like any element on the periodic table. So I know I probably just need to look here at my reference sheet and I'll see ammonium is right down here in the bottom. So ammonium is NH4 1 plus. So NH4 and then 1 plus is my charge. And then sulfide, I know since it ends in "ide," it's off the periodic table, and that is just sulfur, which has a 2 minus charge. So when I write my formula, I'm going to crisscross my charges. So I end up with NH4. Okay, and anytime we have a polyatomic ion, where we're going to have a subscript, we always want to use parentheses. Okay, so this 2 from sulfur is going to come down below, but since it's not NH42, it's NH4, and then there's the subscript 2. So I want to make sure I use parentheses, and then I just have my S, and then since that 1 that comes down is invisible, right, then I don't have to write the 1. Okay, so let's look at another one that has a polyatomic ion. So that's number 6. Okay, so calcium, I know that's just off my periodic table, so that's Ca. And if I look, if you don't have this sheet, this is also under that general class information folder, class info folder, and I think it says periodic table of reference. This is another one that I would save to my desktop or print so that I have access to it, because down here we're going to use these charges. So here's calcium. It has a 2 plus charge. So I'm going to fill that in on my notes. And then I have this hypochlorite. That is definitely does not sound like an element. So I'm going to look here at my reference sheet and I'm going to look for hypochlorite. And here it is right here. Okay, so it's ClO 1 minus. So I'm going to write ClO 1 minus. Okay, I saw a lot of people get this part right, and then when you went to write your formula, we got a little confused with the polyatomic ion part. So when I write my formula, I'm going to write calcium. This 1 is going to cross down, but it's invisible, so I do not have to write it. Then I'm going to write my ClO. This 2 that crosses down, this 2 is going to apply to my entire polyatomic, so I want to put it in parentheses before I write the 2. Okay, it's not just 2 oxygens, it's 2 of that entire thing. So if you need to like make a little note, like anytime I have polyatomic ions, I'm probably going to use parentheses unless there's just one of them. Okay. All right, let's look at the next thing that I noticed that we forgot were our Roman numerals on transition metals. Okay, so if I look at my periodic reference table, my transition metals are usually kind of these in the center area, and I have a few that kind of bleed over here in this area, but that's okay. Transition metals are anything with our multiple charges. Okay, so we have to have our Roman numerals. And the reason is because if I told you to write me the formula for iron sulfide, okay, and I was trying to write it, I write Fe, and I know I have sulfur, that's a 2 minus. Well, when I go to write my formula, I know this 2 is going to cross down here, but how do I know what number is going to go down here if I don't have a number up here? If I look at iron, I have 2 options. It can be a 2 or a 3. If I don't tell you in the name, there's no way for me to know which one it is. Okay, so that's when we have to use our parentheses. So let's go back and look at some of our practice ones. Okay, and I have a couple that's written here. So like number 2, right, manganese 3 sulfite. So I'm looking at my table. Manganese is right here. Okay, and in this case, the notes, it says 3. That's okay, even though it's not listed here, because this chart just has like common ones. Sometimes you might see one that isn't. But I try to give you the ones that are on here, especially for tests and things, but sometimes in notes, it just, in order to give you enough practice, you might end up with something that isn't there. But that's okay, because I know the charge is 3, because this Roman numeral is a 3. So I know manganese is 3 plus. Then I have sulfite. Okay, it does not end in "ide," so I know that is probably going to be from my polyatomic sheet. And if I look here, here's my sulfite. Okay, so it's SO3 2 minus. So SO3 2 minus. Let me just erase some of this stuff out of the way. SO3 2 minus. So now I'm ready to crisscross my numbers. So Mn, this 2 is going to crisscross. And then I have SO3. Now when this 3 crisscrosses, right, I don't just write the 3. I can't forget my parentheses because there's 3 of the entire sulfite ion. Okay, it's not SO33. It's SO3 in parentheses and a 3. Let's look at number 9 here. Okay, so I have SN. What is SN, right? What is my formula for that? Well, that is 10. So I just look on my periodic table. SN symbol is 10. Okay, and if I look at my periodic table, let me find 10 right here. I have, look, multiple charges. So what does that mean I need to have? It means I have to have Roman numerals in my name. So how am I going to figure out which Roman numerals go in my name? Remember, we've crisscrossed, so I know that 10's charge is really this 2 down here. So that is going to be the charge for 10. So it's like SN2 plus, and then I have the PO3, and the charge for PO3 is that crisscross over there, 3 minus. So when I write my name, this 2 is going to be my Roman numerals. And then what is PO3? Well, it's not phosphorus oxygen, which I saw on the some of the homework or the notes answers, right? It's a polyatomic because it's more than just one thing. So I'm going to look at my reference sheet. I'm looking for PO3. Here it is. Okay, so it's phosphite. So when I go back to my notes, it's going to be phosphite. So 10-2 phosphite. I have those Roman numerals. Okay, down here, number 11, cobalt is kind of the same way. So it's cobalt, and then this 2, right? That's what crisscrossed down. That's my charge, right? Because I can see that cobalt, here it is. can have multiple charges, 2 or 3. So I know I've put my 2 in parentheses, and I know it's 2 because that's what number crisscrossed down here. Okay, then I can go look at my, periodic table, ClO4, sorry, my reference sheet, and I can find what is the name of this polyatomic ion that is ClO4. It is perchlorate. Okay, so when I go back to my notes, it's going to be cobalt-2 perchlorate. Sorry, my pen died halfway through this. Perchlorate. Okay, it's not chlorine oxygen, it's perchlorate, because that is the name for the polyatomic ion. Okay. Notice these two don't end in "ide" either. 9 and 11 don't end in "ide" because those are polyatomic. So I don't have to change the name. I write exactly what is on my polyatomic chart here. I don't have to do anything to the name. Okay, so hopefully that helped. See if you need to correct any from your notes. Hopefully maybe it helped after you went through the homework too. And then we will have a review. I'll have a little review game or review activity to do before you take the quiz. So, but feel free to let me know if you have questions. If you need to attend office hours, they're daily from 8:30 to 9 or 3 to 3.